pause. We're now live. All right, ladies.
Okay. Welcome, Sister Clinetta, to Life at the Table. Take a seat. Let's talk.
Thank you.
Sister Clinetta, will you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
My name's Clinetta Allen. I am a school teacher for 23 years, but the last 12 years I have been teaching etiquette. I got certified as a certified etiquette consultant. I went to the American School of Protocol in Atlanta, Georgia. And I saw the need in my classroom for children just to learn basic manners. I remember we did home economics and they taught us how to set a table, how to say please and thank you. But now all they teach the kids is how to pass a test. So nobody's teaching the basics of etiquette, just basic manners. So that's what I do.
Now, let me ask you a question, Clinetta. What age group do you do?
The youngest I've had is 4. The oldest I've had was 80. So anybody can learn.
And do you do any with like adults? Because you know some adults need some etiquette training as well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Anybody who wants to learn, I'm open to teaching it. Working with the seniors is real funny because they try to make excuses about arthritis because they can't hold a fork right. No. You can do it.
Wow.
And once you train them up young, it sticks with them.
Great. When we get ready to open up the House of Rahab, that's one of the classes that I want you to teach.
Absolutely.
The ladies that will be living in the house, a lot of them going to need that. So we're going to definitely get you on board to teach a few classes for the ladies that we will be taking care of in the House of Rahab. But the reason why we have you here today is I want to talk about education and the different things that's going on in society today. And since you and myself has been in the school system forever and a day, can you tell me what have changed over the years and what do you think that we can do as teachers to really help our children to understand the most important thing about education?
One of the things that I think has changed in education is parent involvement. When we were growing up, it wasn't just our parents. We had folks at the church, we had the neighbors. It was a community that helped raise the children. We don't have that same sense of community now. So I think that as teachers, we try to instill in them the things that the community used to. You have to have pride in yourself. You can't dress any kind of way. You can't talk crazy to people. You know, those are the types of things that everybody was nurturing children with. And I don't think they get that now. They don't know what a community is like. And I think that's a bad thing, not just for the children, but for our community as a whole.
I agree. One of the concerns that I had because I am an advocate in the community, I had found out, I was telling Minister Katrina we was talking early part of the week. I remember when I was growing up as a little girl, if you got in trouble, you can go to the church. If a boy got in trouble, he can go, the pastor would go, to the courthouse and validate for him. And right. I tell Minister Katrina all the time, I feel like the church have lost its power because it's all about numbers and it's all about money. But our children is falling through the cracks, and I am so concerned about our children. Well, all children, but mostly children of color. Yes. I was on Facebook the other morning, little boy, he was smoking a blunt while he was sitting in class.
What? In class?
Yeah, advanced high school.
Oh, wow.
And that's the sad part about it. And I understand why it's good for you to teach the the etiquette part, because a lot, like you said, both of you said you're in the education system, and both my parents were educators. So for them to come home and talk about, how kids don't have manners, how they don't know how to talk, say, even if you just learn how to say, you don't have to say yes, ma'am, but you at least need to know how to say yes, no,
Yes.
and not have with an attitude, not, neck snapping and all that. It's just a point of being able to communicate. And the other part about being able to communicate is when you get out there in that outside world, they're either going to receive you or they're going to reject you.
Yes. Yes.
So, Sister Clinetta, I have a question.
Okay.
What age group do you teach?
I teach high school right now, high school special ed.
Okay. With the special ed children, are they similar? Are they different? I know they're different, but do they still have some of the behavior as the normal high school children?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. My thing was, because I've been watching on Zoom how some of the children, they go to school high. You smoking a blunt, and the teacher was sitting there and tell the little boy, you can't do that. You can't do that. And it's like, where's the mother? Where's the parent?
Right.
So can you deal with some of the issues that you go through with the parents not understanding how important it is for their children to get an education in the 21st century?
We have extremes. We have parents who are not involved at all, or we have parents who are overbearing. We call them helicopters.
Okay.
So you have parents who want every little thing taken care of by the school, or you have parents who you have a meeting and they never show. You call them on the phone, they say things to you like, what I'm gonna do with them? What you expect me to do? But you feed them, you clothe them. What do you mean? So we need some kind of common ground. We don't necessarily want all helicopter parents, but we also want parents to be more involved, because sometimes they feel hopeless. The parents do. That's why they say things like, what do you want us to do with them? Because they've been in those behavior issues so long, the parents don't know what to do.
Okay, so what can we do as a community, a faith-based community? What can we do to try to help those helicopter parents that are dealing with children with those kind of problems?
I think that somewhere we lost the sense of mentorship. And I think that the church needs to go back to being the big brother and big sister to children. There's a large statistic of children with no fathers. So they need to have a male figure that will be influential in a good way to them.
Now, let me ask this question, because you just hit something that was very poignant about the church getting back involved. Talk about that. Talk about why it's important that they get back involved in our Black men and our Black children's lives.
Well, when we were growing up, even if we had an uncle or grandfather or whatever, we still had a father figure in our lives. And that particular male was influential on how we felt about ourselves. So imagine growing up without that.
Yes.
So if the men in the church, and it's not that many of them anyway, if the men in the church would take 2 or 3 boys under their wing, at least they would see, well, this is what a real man does. He goes to work. He takes care of his family. He prays. He makes sure that his family is good. He goes to the school. He takes care of the sick. They're not seeing the example of what a man is in every situation. And I think it's this church's responsibility to reach out to be that for them.
Okay, I have a question. What about the young girls? They so broken and so messed up. So how can the church, again, the faith-based church, how can the church reach out to our young girls that have the problem, self-esteem issue? They off the chain too. How can't we?
I think it's the same thing.
Same thing.
We
Okay.
we need to come out of my foe and no more. We need to come out of that. We need to go back to where we do community outreach to pull the people in. But we have to be genuine. We have to be transparent. Because children, if nobody else, knows when you're faking it.
Yes. Yes.
They
I
know
know
when, and they will call you on the carpet quicker than anybody else.
that is so
So
true.
you have to be real with them.
I know, because I do a lot of work in the community, and one of the things, even being in the COVID-19, I'm still doing a lot of work, and people come and pick up food, and the girls talk about, they share a lot of things with me, and it's like the first thing they said was, my mama don't care, so why do you care?
Right.
You
And, see,
know,
and that's important because you have to show them why you care. Because if your mother doesn't, you have to say, you're a diamond in the rough. You could be anything you want to be. Nobody's telling them that. And they need to know. They need to know.
I love that. That's so important. And I think, like you said, even if it doesn't come from your home, there should be someone that should be instilling that in our young adults,
Yes.
in our children. And again, it's very few and far between. For myself, I have to say that, I'm blessed to have had parents that, they weren't perfect, but they still made sure that I had food, shelter, and then that I knew the Lord.
Yes.
And the other part about that is also that I knew how to treat other people, and that I also knew how to go. When I went out, I was a representation of them. And
Absolutely.
and I'm gonna tell you, they would say, so and so said that they saw you out somewhere and you was cutting up. So, and I like what you said about community. But again, we do have those children that don't have that. So again, it's always important to be able to steer them. If we see them, we should be just whether you're faith-based or not, we should, as a community, say, look, this is where you're going. I want to help you not go down the same road that I went, because we weren't perfect.
Right.
We did some stuff. We didn't come out saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost.
That's true. That's so true.
That is the truth.
One of the issues that I see being in the community, and Clinetta, you probably, is the drugs. It is the drugs. Drugs is taking over. And I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she said, well, the church tell you don't do this, don't do that. And what do that look like? And I told the person, I said, look, the church is there to help people to deal with whatever. God is love, and it don't cost nobody anything to show love. I don't care where you been, I don't care what kind of lifestyle you have, what you do. God is love. And when we can, like Clinetta said, when we can show somebody that we care and genuine care, I think that can change their whole paradigm. But to me, in the 21st century coming up now, when you look at it, it's dangerous. It is so dangerous for our children. And I hear these young girls come out, y'all talk about keeping yourself, but we got to make this money, and they don't care how they make it. They don't feel like they should work a decent job. They don't even care about getting an education. So, Clinetta, what can we do as people in general to help our young people? Because that's my heartbeat, the young people. How can we really try to bring it home to them? Look, if you work hard, you can be whatever you want to be. No, I tell them all the time, I was homeless. I had polio. I had a whole lot of issues, but you can be successful. You don't allow nobody to define you. You can define yourself if you believe in yourself. So when I look at the children in the school system, and I worked in the school, our school system is broken because the teachers cared back then. Now, like you said earlier, only thing they worried about, test. But if the children don't have morals and values and stuff, how they like robots, they don't know. So what can you give us some steps that we might, because we have a nonprofit, that we can help people to understand when people come in our doors or in our way, how can we really get across to them? If you don't get it right, the world will identify you or will label you. And most of the time, the cycle probably repeats itself.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm concerned about, like I said, probably repeats itself. Young girls keep having babies, and their children grow up and having babies, and then it's not getting no better, it's getting worse. And we can see it, you know, I don't want to talk about election, but we can see it in the last 4 years how everything has changed. And if we don't, in our school system now, we in a pandemic, how can children now, the parents don't have the education, they frustrated because they got to stay home and deal with their children, and they don't even know how to deal with them. So what do you tell a parent when they get, like you said, they get over the top?
Ironically, I've dealt with that a lot this week.
Okay.
I had to let the parents know that we're all in this together. Okay. So they don't need to wig out. Take one day at a time. And if you struggle, let somebody know. Don't scream at your kid and then scream at the school. That's putting a barrier between what you need. Be specific about what you need before you call the school so that we'll know specifically how to help you. Calling me talking about, I can't do this, I just can't do this, I can't do this, that's not helping. What is it specifically you need help with? And when it comes to high school kids, I try to make sure they know that I am on their side, no matter where they've been, no matter how they failed, no matter what their parents said. I'm still for you, but I'm not gonna work for you if you're not gonna work for yourself. And I tell them, for real, the world does not care about your disability. When you leave this protected place, you are gonna be out there with the wolves. I'm just trying to help you get the skills you need so you do not fall between the cracks once you leave this place. And once they find out you're on their side, they'll do whatever you ask. But you got to be real with them. You can't say it and then turn around and do something different.
And I think that's where the biggest thing, you hit it right on the head, because again, if they don't have that example in the home, then they go out and then they see it, you know, whether it's their teacher, their friends, friends' parents or whatever, they have no example. So again, once they realize that you are really there for them and you're genuine and you're really buying into their success, that's when it does that's that shift, that mind shift, you know, and it takes a little bit of time. I'm pretty sure there's some, you know, even through your etiquette class, and I wanted to go back to that as well, but I know there's some that probably say, well, you know, she's in it for something, you know, what is she getting out of it? And what do you say to that?
Yeah. Why do you care? They just don't understand. We know what the world is. The world is a mean, mad someplace. And if you don't have some type of skill or at least some type of support system even, you will go and you will be lost. And we don't want that.
Exactly. And I wanted to go back to your etiquette class. Do you offer that through the Charlotte Mecklenburg to them, or is that something that, you know, you offer separately?
I offer it separately.
Okay. And what is your success rate? Do you have a lot of kids that come back and say, "Oh, Miss Clinetta, you know, you just don't realize how much that has helped me, you know, either get a job, or when I went out to a fancy restaurant and I knew how to, you know, pull that fork out, that I knew what knife to use and all that kind of stuff." Kind of talk about that.
I have some kids or parents will videotape themselves or take pictures when they go to a restaurant, etiquette in practice, You know, and I have children who learn, like the guys learn how to escort a lady learns how to sit in a car, you sit at the table, you cross your feet. You know, I've had people come to me and say, thank you so much for helping me with my interviewing skills. Thank you for showing me how to code switch. Because you can't look at me and say, bruh, come on. You can't. You can't. And that bothers me. You can't come in my classroom and not speak. Because I didn't cook your breakfast. You didn't wake up with me. You got to say hello. And I send them out, go out that door and try again. And they respect that. After they go away and come back, they go, yeah, Miss Allen, I'm so glad you taught me to say yes instead of yeah. So yeah, they appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that they remember where they got it from.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Teresa, did you have anything?
I know I watched one of your, it was a young man that took your class a couple of weeks ago. Maybe this is old, I don't, but he was so over the top. He was so grateful. And, you know, and people, I mean, even when I'm dealing with children, they say, well, you old fashioned. You don't have to do it. No, baby. You're not going to be, and I tell them in a minute, you're not going to be 15 forever. You're not going to be 20 forever. You're not going to be 25 forever. You're going to grow up in this world. And if you don't have certain things in place, like how to sit at an interview or how to sit at a dinner table or going to an elegant restaurant and wearing the proper clothes, you're not going to get in.
Right.
And even speaking the proper English, you know, even speaking proper English at certain things. And when people see you saying an interview, and if you say certain things, they thank you for coming in, but we'll get back in contact with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've had some children who are in high school talk about that's white folks stuff.
Yes, I was going to say that.
They say that? And I said, listen, you've got to be able to sit with your homies and be able to go to a corporate dinner. You can't talk to your homies like you talk to the people in corporate. You have to be able to code switch. You can't do the same things you do at home that you do at work. And if you don't know the difference, they'll fire you.
You better say that again.
So no, it has nothing to do with what race does it. It has everything to do with how to handle yourself in
I like that. I like that.
Now, Clinetta, let everybody know how they can reach out to you for your services.
So I am
ready.
because we can do it on Zoom. Because I personally feel that it's so important for our young people. It is so important.
Thank you.
For our young people. I know we was talking the other day, me and my daughters. My granddaughter is 9 years old. She have a tea every year, and they wear the gloves and the fancy dress and stuff.
Yes.
And, you know, the first thing they said, well, she trying to act white. No, her mother is preparing her for success.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing. We have to try to prepare our children for success. We got to
comfortable in every situation.
not just on the spiritual side, but on the natural earth.
Yes.
And I am so honored and so grateful that you took out your time to be with us because we asked the questions.
All right.
So
That sounds good.
On a Bible studies, we're going to be talking about different things that's going to help people to understand God is love. And I know we as Christians, as we say, you know, people have gotten turned away from the Bible because they feel like, well, my lifestyle is not like your lifestyle. And so the Bible study, I want to bring, God told us to love. And this is what I tell people. God told us to love. God didn't tell us to judge.
Right.
He's going to do the judging.
Right.
So if you out there doing whatever you're doing, that's between you and God. I'm just going to give you what God told me. God told me to love you. If you got a lifestyle that, I'm not going to condemn you because I don't have a right to.
Right. And I wasn't perfect.
What I got to do is to share the love of God. And if
Right.
God don't condemn you, neither will I. And
Right.
I just think that's where we have to, if we want to get people back in the church, to get the young people back in the church, we can't condemn them. Now God to do. So yeah, I'm excited about the Bible study, but thank you again.
Thank
and
you.
Will you repeat your information again for everybody that might be on Facebook Live, want to know about anything you got going on?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at The Charmed Agency LLC. I'm on Instagram at Z Charmed Agency and Twitter at Z Charmed Agency. And my email is thecharmedagency@gmail.com.
Well, Clinetta, we definitely will make sure that we put your information out on the To Serve with Love page. And again, thank you so much for this opportunity to come on and share.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
And we'll send you the video.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, listening audience. We appreciate you coming on tonight and viewing and Facebook Living us with us. And again, if you want to reach out to Clinetta, she is on, you're on Instagram as well, aren't you?
Yes, Z Charmed Agency.
She's on all the social media outlets. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for this opportunity. And as we always say, life at the table. Let's talk about it.
Yep. Take a seat and let's talk.
Take a seat and let's talk. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.